Toledo presents E3 coverage. Hosts Danny Pena, Paris Lilly, and Peter Toledo are direct from the convention center floor.
All right, so once again, E3 2019, the coverage continues, and once again, Michael Arts, man, back. All about Atari. Yes. What's up, Michael?
Hi, Danny. How are you? Good to see you as always.
Yeah, man.
Glad you came by.
Last year we had a great conversation, man, about Atari VCS, and now finally I see the console here.
Let's have another great conversation. How about that?
Yeah, definitely.
So coming into E3 this year, we had some simple objectives, really, and that is sort of clarify and see as best as we could to clean up some of the sort of misunderstandings that are out there about what the Atari VCS is. The Atari VCS is, let's first talk about what it's not. It is not a retro box. It is not an emulator box. It is not a, overbaked Raspberry Pi. It's not any of those things. Atari has made a flashback console for years with, it's been available. You can buy it for $79. It's a plug and play machine. It works with all the classic, 2600 games and all that. That's not what this is about. And this is not about selling somebody a $250 to $389 retro box to play 40-year-old games. I mean, of course it can play those games, and of course they're available because we're Atari, and that's part of our DNA and our heritage. But it is a modern machine with modern PC hardware that is capable of modern gameplay. It'll play, it'll stream 4K video at 60 frames per second. It will play, modern games. We've got games like Borderlands 2 on display over there, for it to play. Very, very capable machine that has a lot of interesting aspects to it. So number one, first and foremost, like I said, it's not a retro box. What is it? The other thing it's not a console, right? So people are going to call it a console because that's just how things go. But we prefer to call it what it is, which is a video computer system, which is a computer system that works through a video interface, right? So it's optimized for using with your TV in your living room and all of that. So the way the machine works, let's quickly just back up a little bit. So a year ago, we were talking about the Indiegogo
Yes.
launch, right? So we had a concept. We put it on Indiegogo with really no certain expectations. We knew that people were kind of interested in this. We just had no idea how well it would do or how it would be received. But we weren't going to start investing in building, spending the millions of dollars it would take to build a machine like this without some kind of an indicator of what to expect. So we launched it and immediately proceeded to break Indiegogo the first day. We did $2 million worth of orders within the first week. And by the time we closed it after 30 days, we had $3 million. And since then, we've grossed close to $4 million in additional sales and things through BackerKit, which is the back end of Indiegogo and all that. So absolutely there's a demand out there, but also in the process, like I said, a lot of misunderstanding about what this machine is. And that was really, so our objective for this E3 was, with all the talk of new consoles, obviously, the big guys are coming out with new machines in 2020 and, talking a lot about them here at E3. For us, the objective was to try and get, sort of clear the air a little bit and get the word out about what we were doing here. So first we talked, like I said a minute ago, about what it's not. And then what it is a very powerful little PC that, you can put under your TV. And you'd be hard-pressed to build a PC or find another PC that, for $250 can do what this one would do. I mean, it would probably cost a consumer, between $400 and $500 to build something this powerful for themselves. And what's great about this machine is, yes, there'll be an Atari environment, a modern dashboard and interface. You'll boot up, and it'll have, a very, modern style navigation and windows, and you navigate it with your joystick or your controller, and it'll work a lot like a PlayStation. That's what the Atari environment will be like. But what makes us different from the big consoles is what we're calling sandbox mode, which means which is a mode that lets you exit out of the Atari environment and boot into an environment of your choosing by basically installing plugging in a USB hard drive in the back and loading, that's got Ubuntu or Windows or Chrome OS or Steam OS or any other OS that you want loaded onto it. The system will recognize that and boot to that, and then you essentially have a clean slate PC that you can do whatever you want with, and install anything. You can install your favorite apps and programs. You can install your Steam library or your other games libraries. You can play PC games. You can if you can use Windows apps. You can do anything in that sandbox environment. So the sandbox is something that's very unique and something that the big guys don't do. They're not going to let they've Xbox and PlayStation, they lock down their platforms. They sell their very powerful platforms, which essentially are PCs also, but they lock out that open side of it. They don't want you to hack it. They don't want you to,
to just mess around with it.
They don't want you to leave their environment and go into another opera. They don't want you to exit out of that because that's how they make their money back when they've sold you the hardware at a loss. So for us, we're selling hardware that we're not losing money on, and that also, we obviously hope you will stay in that Atari environment, and buy games from us and browse our store and buy games there, and obviously we are working on a number of content partnerships, both games and entertainment apps that will all have a home there, and
also retail too, because I noticed
that's
new
the other
press
big
release.
Thing, right?
Was it Walmart
Tuesday? So we announced we announced our retail partnerships, our first two retail partnerships, which is GameStop and Walmart, which we announced that on Tuesday, and now we closed the Indiegogo campaign for additional pre-orders and opened up on AtariVCS.com, Walmart.com, and GameStop.com with models that will ship in March of 2020. All the Indiegogo people will still get their
consoles.
They'll still get their units in December of 2019, as we've promised them.
All right, early. We got it early.
Right, they'll get finished hardware, and the plan right now is that they will get, they'll get boxes that have, software on them, but that are also, hopefully they're going to opt in and be part of our software beta program and help us finish the software essentially. So, the whole notion of being part of this Indiegogo thing, you get an opportunity to continue the process that you were on. It's a different pathway. Those people all got either collector's editions or less expensive editions than what we're selling now, and also get the benefit of early access and participation that is important to us. The community is super important to us, and we want to make sure that those guys realize that guys and girls who bought early and participated and contributed and helped us get this off the ground, that they are absolutely loved and appreciated by Atari, and we want to make sure that they continue to feel like part of the process.
So when are we gonna hear about game launch? Like the games that's coming out for launch?
You know what? We could have said some things here at E3, but we really wanted to focus on the hardware one last time.
Okay.
We're hoping and planning, not hoping, but we're planning to make some bigger announcements later this summer about content, about software and games.
That's cool.
And,
that's good to know.
So that's the plan. You'll hear more about that from the PR team as always. And we're talking to a lot of partners, game devs and companies that are doing these streaming platforms and things like that. I mean, this box is a box. Like I said, this is a box that's built for today and tomorrow. It's not, it can handle anything from the past, as most new products can, but it's really built for today and for tomorrow. It's going to be very capable of playing things like xCloud or Stadia or any of that stuff. We're very confident in that, and that's one of the reasons we actually did pause and switch to this newer Ryzen chip from AMD.
Which is good, and you also gave feedback to
It's much more powerful. It's much more powerful, and it's also capable of a lot more. It's so new that it's not even out yet.
Was that change based on feedback, or what was it that made you guys decide
some of it was feedback, most definitely. I mean, we listen to our fans and our followers a lot,
and devs too, devs too, or
not so much devs. It was more looking at what the hardware that we were using was first spec'd in late 2017.
Yeah.
And a lot had changed since then. And, a lot had changed on the project, but then obviously a lot of technology changes. We all know these chips.
And they're super quick nowadays.
They change and get better very quickly. So by the time, looking at our timelines and looking at where we were in the project, we had one chance and one chance only to make a change, not have it. It obviously affected the schedule a little bit because we had to redo some things. But ultimately, we think that in the long run, it gives us a machine with a longer lifespan, right?
Yeah.
And more capability out of the box. There's certain things that the other SoC couldn't do, and this one can.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, my last question is, how important, man, is for you? Like, how important this project is for you and the team? Because the past year has been ups and downs, right? But you guys, it seems like you guys don't give up and still going at it. And how important is it to you, man, to finally reveal and release this?
It feels great to be where we are now and to continue moving forward. And it's funny, it's funny to hear that your impression is that there's been ups and downs. For us, it's been all ups. I mean, the chatter and things like that are out there, look, the internet is the internet, and there's happy people and there's not so happy people. And look, everybody wants to be heard, and everybody's voice is important, and we listen to the things that matter, and we try and just keep doing the right thing. And every time we reveal something, or we feel like less is more. Speak when you have something to say. Make sure that what you say is solid and productive and forward moving. And that's really how this project has been. And it's obviously, look, it's frustrating that people, like I said at the top of the conversation, are so either misinformed or so determined to pass along incorrect information. That's frustrating, and it's counterproductive, and it hurts. I think it hurts it hurts the fans more than it hurts us. Because we're committed. Look, we're huge Atari fans ourselves. None of us would work here and work on this brand if we didn't care about it as sort of being entrusted with something that means so much to so many people. But we also want to make sure that this brand moves forward. If we built a box that was what so many people are saying, an overpriced emulator box, then what are we doing? We're building a zombie. Why would we do that? I understand people want boxes that like take cartridges and things like that. There's so many of them out there already. And we're so glad that they are out there and that people are, still excited by all that stuff. But we're trying to make a future-leaning product that, like I said, can not only make more happy times for our existing fans, but also help create new fans. Because a lot of our existing fans who have been with the brand for 30 or 40 years, they become the gift-giving loved ones. Their dad and grandma and grandpa and mom.
It's time to pass it to the next generation.
Pass the torch, something new. And again, it's like, I talk about like, it's like you get that classic generation that grew up with an Atari or grew up with a Ford Mustang or grew up with, a Mini Cooper. And now you look at who's buying those things now, and it's either, that classic fan or it's like young people. And that's what's important to us is we need to get a new generation of Atari fans into the fold and excited about what it can do. So having a machine that can do all the things that they want and need and expect it to do and can play modern games and, can play, like I said, on the demo, we've got Borderlands, or can play Fortnite, or can play like, Overwatch, or all these new games that the younger generation cares about, or play the video apps, be able to watch, HBO Go or Netflix or Hulu or any of that stuff. That's all super important. We realize that, and that's sort of expected within a modern machine. So that's all going to be there. But ultimately, we think we've got a great looking machine that people will be proud to have in their living room and under their TV. It's got a lot of capability, and a lot of functionality, and again, like I said, it's a modern machine, plays modern plays modern content really well, and I think people are going to be really pleasantly surprised when they get them in their hands.
One last thing I want to say, well, before we wrap it up, it's good that you're sending this the console early to Kickstarter supporters, of course.
It's a video computer system.
Console. But another thing too is they also will provide feedback to you guys.
Right. Well, that's
help us make the product even better.
Exactly. That's
give them some time hands on. Of course, launch is not going to be perfect. Like a little buggy here and there, but the feedback is going to help you guys big time.
Look,
I think,
it's
by
like I
March.
said, there have been things that they've asked for that we've given them.
Yeah.
There's things that we've taken things away that they haven't been happy about. But every product has some degree of compromises in it, right? You're trying to put out the product that is the best combination of elements that can hit the desired price point, hit the desired performance parameters, make people happy, do what it needs to do. And,
That's
I mean, the other thing about this machine too is that out of the box, it's designed to be upgradable and hackable. You can put more RAM in, you can expand the storage, you can do a lot of things to it that, both to the hardware and to on the software side that really make this your box, not ours. I buy a PlayStation or an Xbox, it's their box, right? I own it. It's in my house, but they really own the ecosystem. With this, you have an opportunity to, of course, we want you to stay in the Atari ecosystem. That's our job, to try and keep you in there, because that's a way Atari makes money and that's a way Atari grows. But if you bought the box and you decided that you were going to use it for something completely different, it's your prerogative. It's your box, and that's and the box is. We don't want to get into a hardware war with the hackers and the modders. Let them do with this box what they want. It's their box, and like I said, it starts from a good spot, and you can do more with it. And there's also the opportunity for us to do more with it. We can do a pro model one day, or we can do an upgraded version one day, and it's got a lot of expandability for us and for the consumer.
Well, Michael, I just want to say thanks for the opportunity once again. And this was like super last minute, but we still made it happen. And I appreciate that big time, man, giving us access.
Of course,
to talk about more about Atari, man. So I'm excited, man. Thanks a lot.
Good to see you, Danny. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.